Hey guys, in this video I'm doing another opinion video about 3 films that I recently purchased and watched. I don't call these review videos because I really don't know enough about the finer details to call it a review. I mean, that's what a lot of YouTubers do when they review films. They give so much detail about the specifications of that particular print, and yeah, I don't know enough about that to do that. So this is just my opinion on what I thought about the film and how I think it looks and sounds and things like that. So yes, that's why I call this an opinion video. So in this video, I'm going to be reviewing 3 films. I'm going to keep these videos to 3 films. I think that, just quickly going over each one, I think that makes a good video. So yeah, 3 films. I'm going to do The Witches, Total Recall 30th Anniversary Remastered Edition, and Coming to America. So yes, let's get into it. So we'll start with The Witches. This is a childhood favorite of mine. Scared the crap out of me though when I was little, which I think is a common thing amongst people on YouTube that have watched this. And I think that's what makes it so different from the 2020 remake. Is I think the 2020 remake, the reason like people like me found it so bad, in my opinion, is because it was trying to be more child friendly. So there was a lot of things in it that were less scary. The Grand High Witch makeup, a lot of the CGI instead of practical effects, the sort of toning down of all the ugliness, I guess you could say. Yeah, it was just very different, and especially how they replaced that whole painting storyline with the girl turning into the chicken. I think that was more funny than it was scary. I mean, that painting thing scared the hell out of me when I was little. They went in a completely different direction, and I don't think it was in their favor, because it turned out the movie was really horrible. There was like one scene where the 2 child actors, the 2 main actors, Bruno and Hero Boy's Luke, basically, they were meeting for the first time, and they literally sounded like they were reading off a script. They were not, the acting in that scene was not good. And yeah, but anyway, a lot of the things in that movie just made me appreciate this film so much more. And one of the big things I appreciate so much more is the practical effects in this. This Blu-ray copy, it really, really makes the practical effects stand out in a good way. You can see a lot more detail, and you can just appreciate it a lot more. Like, the Grand High Witch's transformation, there were multiple effects that went into that, because there were multiple stages of the transition, and they used clever angles and different shots of it, and you can really see that in this. And I don't mean see it like it makes it look bad. I mean, you can see the transformation, you can see the practical effects, and they look so good for when they were made. This is one of the few films that I've seen where the practical effects, the old practical effects, look better on this high quality, this full HD copy, than it did on, VHS or DVD. I mean, it just looks so good. I was sitting there going, wow, the detail in this is amazing. Like, CGI, I think, has its place, but practical effects really, really worked well in this film's favor, and that's one thing about this copy that you can really, really appreciate, is the practical effects. Angelica Houston as the Grand High Witch, I think she did such a fantastic job. Anne Hathaway in the new one, she's too pretty to be the Grand High Witch. Angelica Houston, she was attractive, but she had this sophisticated look. Like, you could actually believe that underneath all of that, makeup and, face masks, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, underneath all that, you could believe there was a Grand High Witch under there. She just looked sophisticated, and Anne Hathaway didn't have that. She just looked pretty, and I just didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, Angelica Houston really knocked that role out of the park. I think the whole cast in this did an amazing job. And that's not saying that the new film, the actors were horrible or anything. They did what they could with, the film that they were making. And I just think the whole storyline, the whole look of the film just let it down. So yeah, I think there is just so much that they got right with this film, that it's just a terrific film, and there's a reason why people love this film so much. When it comes to the overall picture quality, it's amazing. Honestly, if you are wanting a copy of this, the Blu-ray copy, that's the copy to get, because it's just amazing. The picture quality, like I've seen this on VHS, and I think that was the last time I saw it. I saw it on VHS, and then there was a digital one, but this one is just, it knocks it out of the park. I mean, you can just appreciate the work that went into the film so much more, and yeah, this is just a classic. If you can get your hands on a copy like this, I do recommend it. It's just brilliant, and yeah, it comes with a bunch of goodies there, as I've already shown in a previous video, and yeah, so absolutely beautiful movie, beautiful picture, beautiful sound. I think they did a good job on this release, so yeah, very happy with this. Next up is Total Recall, the 4K 30th Anniversary Remastered Edition. This one here, it actually comes with the 4K disc and 2 Blu-rays, because it comes with a bunch of special features, which I love when these 4Ks come with special features. You know, I think they did an alright job on this. This isn't like it didn't blow my mind. I mean, there is so much more detail that you can see, but there's a lot of, I don't know whether it's CGI or practical effects that they do in the background. It looks like CGI to me. Some sort of CGI effect, I'm not sure. But there was a lot of blurriness in certain scenes where the 4K resolution, I mean, you have like this beautiful picture, like when it comes to skin tones and, you know, the sets that they're on and everything, they all look amazing. But when you come, I'm assuming they're these CGI scenes, there's just a bit of blurriness to it. And it's really noticeable, like when, mostly when they're, you know, showing Mars, is basically where you really see it. There's some blurriness that you do notice, and, you know, I kind of think it's a little bit of a letdown, but if you can get past that aspect of it, the rest of the film is amazing, and I think this 4K copy, I'd like to say it's you know, a solid one, but it's just that kind of blurriness. Like, I think other YouTubers have also noticed that too. It's just really noticeable. I'm not sure why they didn't fix that. I mean, it kind of lets it down. Like, I was watching it and I was just like, why is it blurry over in that corner there? And I was just like, oh, okay, so that's just what old CGI is. That's just what I was thinking. But yeah, other than that, the sound is great. The overall picture quality of this is fantastic. You know, skin tones look amazing. A lot of the practical effects that you see on screen look amazing, like the detail. You know, in these older films, you gotta give it some slack when it comes to practical effects sometimes, because sometimes you do notice the fakeness of it a lot more, especially when, you know, back in the day they didn't really go to too much effort to make things look more realistic. So you got to give it some leeway for that, but, you know, it doesn't really let it down. It just it makes you appreciate what went into it so much more. I mean, that's the viewpoint I try and look at, you know, these older films when I see practical effects that look a bit fakish. I just try and appreciate the fact that somebody back then made that was on screen. That's not CGI. So yeah, just that aspect alone I think is amazing, and this copy here really does highlight those practical effects more, and it's really enjoyable to see a lot of them, especially the where he takes that lady's mask, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he takes that lady's mask off his head. Scenes like that, just amazing, and the detail that you can see is really is amazing. So yeah, other than the blurriness of some of the you know, the background effects that you can see in this on Mars, yeah, like I think it's really, like, there's also a scene where he's trying out this hologram. I mean, it's scenes like that where you really notice it, and, you know, it is a bit of a letdown. But other than that, everything else about this is fantastic. And yeah, this is probably the best copy that you can get at the moment. Not just because it's 4K, because the picture genuinely is fantastic. So yeah, this does also come with Dolby Atmos. So if you're into your sound, yeah, you're in for a treat. So yes, I would hope in the future that they can release a copy where they fix up those background effects, the CGI that's in this. I really hope they can fix that up some point, just release, a newer copy, because that's the only letdown I can think of when it comes to this, because the colors are amazing, the picture is amazing, the sound is amazing. It's just, certain scenes where it just looks blurry, and it's just a bit of a letdown, because, you go through the film thinking this looks fantastic, and then you get to these certain scenes and you're like, oh, it's a bit blurry. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But other than that, yeah, pretty good copy, and I'm mostly happy with it. And finally, coming to America. This is a favorite of mine. I've seen it on VHS and digital. Didn't catch a Blu-ray copy. I actually have a copy of it on DVD, and this is actually a pretty decent copy of it. I didn't mind this one. And it was only $2. I think I found that at a charity store at some point. But yes, I have it in 4K now, and I'm glad I picked this one up because it's just amazing. But yeah, I did see it on digital, and now I have a 4K copy. This is just a 4K copy. There is no Blu-ray. I don't like when 4Ks don't come with Blu-rays because, not a lot of people have 4K players. A lot of people are fine with Blu-ray players. So if I'm heading over to someone else's house and, I want to take a movie to watch for the night, I can't take this one because they won't have a 4K player. So, yeah. That's the only bad thing about the overall package here, but yeah, you do get special features on the 4K disc though, which I guess makes up for it, because a lot of the 4Ks that I get don't have special features on them. You have to buy the Blu-ray for that, which I think is a bit, shit, but it is what it is. And there are some exterior shots of the city that I love those old shots, from the 70s and 80s and early 90s. I love those shots of the city. No, I've said it in the past, even though I wasn't born in those times. I feel a bit nostalgic. I feel like, that was a better time to be in. I don't know why. I honestly don't know where that comes from, but I just love those exterior shots. And in this film, the detail that you can see is fantastic. When it comes to the landscape and, the sets and everything, I think it's just amazing. When it comes to the buildings, the roadsides, all the exterior shots they're in, this 4K really, really, there's just so much detail. And where it really shines is the costumes. I mean, the amount of costumes in this film, um, you can really appreciate them in this. The level of detail that you can see in it, I was just amazed by it, because I was watching it, like a lot of the jewels that they wear, and the little, the intricate little details that you didn't really notice in the previous versions. You can really see them in this, and I just think that was amazing. So there is a lot to see in this 4K copy with that high resolution. So yeah, if you're in the market for a copy of this, the 4K one, that's the one to get. It's the best picture at the moment. The sound is pretty good. What sound do you have on here? So this does have a DTS 5.1 track, and I think it was good. I enjoyed this film. I think the sound was just amazing. It was just right. And the one thing I loved about the sound was the voices were clear. I didn't have to reach for the remote to turn it up to hear the voices, and then when the background music comes on, I had to turn it down again. Didn't have to do any of that. It was just like at a consistent volume, everything was clear, so the track on this I think is fantastic. And yeah, I do recommend this copy. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this video here. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to subscribe, and if you didn't, feel free not to subscribe. But hopefully this helped you kill some time. So until next time, ciao for now.